Oftentimes we feel like our failures, our setbacks are just these terrible things that occur to us and happen to us in order to kind of minimize us and keep us trapped. But what if your failures were the set up for something really wonderful? My dad always shares that concept with me, and it's something I've always kept with me. And I think unless you really truly believe that your failures are what is going to transform you to your next business, you will never be fully who you are meant to be. The moment I realized, and I want to share this story with you about my print media company. So when I started that company, of course, like most people, you think it's never going to end, right? This is where, God wants me to be, because why would I have started this business? This is so weird. It was a print magazine business. Like, I'm actually printing it. It's not online. Costs so much money because it's paper. We did things that we just seemed unimaginable, getting celebrities like Phil Collins and, William Shatner. He was quite interesting, really nice guy. Just like, people you just never think that you would speak to. And then I'm convincing them to be on my magazine. How did this even happen? And then it ended, right? So 2020 comes, the pandemic hits, we print our last issue March of 2020. We also had a PBS series that was supposed to have our first episode premiere. There was like 200 people coming from the community, was on March 19, 2020. And they shut the whole world down then. And you start to feel like, why? Why did this happen to me? And so for years, I just felt a lot of discouragement. Like, why did I waste all this time in this business? Why did I waste it? I could have been doing something else. And I realize now that God was using those failures for my future success. And though it took time to get there, I realize it so much now more than ever. Those failures were, first of all, let me put something in your mind. Not everything's supposed to last forever. Just because you did something for a decade doesn't mean you're supposed to do it for 50 years. Some things are meant to happen, and they're also supposed to end. And once I truly believe that about my business, like, hey, I'm actually okay with this business ending, it was like this burden off of my shoulders. But then more importantly, when I realized that God was using these failures to teach me lessons and to now allow me to share those lessons with people that may have never started a business, people that want to be real estate agents and people that want to get media or want to learn how to build a brand, like all these things that I just kind of like accidentally learned, these are now of value and now I'm of service to other people. And it was like this aha moment of realizing this like huge, full circle connection of why I was put there. I want to put something else into your mind. I was in a coaching session the other day, and this coach, he was talking about, we go through like different levels of different, stress and fear, confidence, and we were talking about failures. And it was a group coaching session with other people, and he happened to share Abraham Lincoln's failures and all the failures it took for him to eventually become president. There was like multiple setbacks, odds against him so many times. Eventually he became president. He died shortly after that. And we're all like cheering and applauding. We're like, yes, the failures. And I go on after and I share with everyone, I said, you know what's interesting? I said, I'm listening to everybody here and we are applauding his failures, yet we don't applaud our own. We see our failures as this negative, terrible thing to happen, but everyone else's failures, we're cheering them on and we're so happy for them. Why in the world do we do that to ourselves? It's because we're overvaluating the failures of someone else and undervaluing our own failures. We are not perceiving our failures as the thing that's bringing us to our next level. Think back to me being in print media. If I had not gotten out of that, if the pandemic had not happened, I might have still been in that business, and maybe that shouldn't have been my path. My path was supposed to be right here, but I wouldn't have come into that if it hadn't ended. I don't know if I would have seen it that way. I don't know if I would have found a reason to end the business that I had started from the ground up and nurtured like a baby, right? This blessing that ended everything now started me on a new path. And this is what you need to perceive for yourself. Your failures are lessons that have taught you to where you are now, and those valuable lessons can be of value to somebody else. You are probably minimizing the lessons that you've learned from businesses failed, from things that you've tried that haven't worked, and now you figured out. Do you realize that those things are actually teachable and can be of value to other people, and that you could actually even package and then sell to somebody and people will be willing to pay you for your failures? Can you imagine that? But it happens all the time. I see coaches, I see people speaking about how they took something that happened to them, they turned it into a blessing, and then they're blessing other people. And so I want to put in your mind that your failures now need to be applauded. If you applaud your failures, I'm not saying you have to walk around town shouting about how you failed your business. I mean, that would be kind of crazy. But if you tell yourself, it's okay, like everyone has this happen to them, I'm better because of this talk in your head is so powerful. I think we often are not telling ourselves how great of a job we're doing. Just stop right now and tell yourself, I've done so much good. I've done so much great stuff. I'm going to continue to do that. Just kind of lifting that burden off of yourself and coming into who you're meant to be is allowing your failures to uplift you rather than diminish you. And that is when we truly come into who we're meant to be, and we're able to lead and follow God's path in life rather than just following metrics that don't matter, right? And ultimately, when you applaud your failures, you realize that those are to level you up and you can come into this new version of yourself. If you want to take action today and you're saying, well, how can I do this? How can I start? Start by making sure you're having positive self-talk in your head. I'm going to tell you the truth. The moment I realized I wasn't having a lot of self-talk, positive self-talk in my own head, is when I realized that I've been beating myself up for years over things I thought I was over. Are you doing that to yourself? Are you feeling like, wait a minute, am I actually, like, think about what you say to other people to encourage them versus what you say to yourself. Just really think about that for a second. Think about how much we encourage and uplift other people. Like, you can do it. You're doing so great. Do you say those things to yourself? That is a way to instantly change your failures into a positive situation for yourself, because you're now internally changing your own narrative. We're probably our own worst critics because no one else is telling me these things. My husband's not telling it. People I know aren't telling me that. Nobody except for myself. So remove that negative self-talk and start telling yourself you're doing a good job. You've done a great job. Also, don't tell yourself you're behind. Tell yourself you're right where you're meant to be. Tell yourself that those failures brought you here. I realized that I was saying to myself for a long time, man, if only I hadn't been wasting my time doing that, I could have been doing this. No, no, no. God wanted me to learn those lessons. I was meant to go down that path. I was meant to learn those things. I had to walk through the negative stuff. I had to walk through the darkness, and now I'm on the other side, right? It takes all of us different times. Some people it takes 1 year. Some people can take 10. Some can take their whole life, right? If you start to have these thoughts in your brain, seeking purpose, seeking faith, it's going to shorten the time it takes for you to realize this. But then don't beat yourself up over it. Be proud you figured it out. Be thankful you figured it out. And tell yourself that, because that's the most important. We are our number one fans, first and foremost. If we don't believe in ourselves, how can we do anything? Okay, so I hope this helps you when you're thinking about how to use your failures as something that can uplift you and bring you to the highest level of who you're meant to be. And I'll see you on the next video.